What's going on, everyone? So the Boston Celtics officially eliminate the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's going to go how we thought it would. Boston's just going to walk their way to the NBA Finals. Maybe if they play the Knicks or the Pacers, maybe they steal a game or something, but more likely than not, it's going to go how the first two series went. The Knicks, if they were fully healthy, I think that they might be able to give them a little bit of a run for their money, but they're too hobbled, they're too beat up. And then you look at the Indiana Pacers, I just don't think that they have the experience, and I think the Knicks win the series. So they probably beat the Knicks in 5-6 games tops, and they're going to go to the finals. We need Denver to handle business. I know Denver, as Laker fans, we're not like the biggest Denver fans right now, but we need to make sure Boston doesn't break this tie as far as championships go. Again, I still don't believe in Boston, right? It's just until I see them do it. Every year they're in the conference finals. Every year they walk to this point, and then, can they finally get over the hump? Is this the year that they finally get over the hump? We'll see. Again, I talk about them like I talk about the Clippers. Every year it's their year. Every year they're the best team. Every year they're this, that, and the other. And every year they find a way to fumble it. Right? So we'll see how that advances. But the reason I'm even talking about this on the Lakers channel is because Cleveland was eliminated from the playoffs, and that impacts the Lakers because, obviously the Boston side of things, we don't want Boston to get the W and win the chip, but Donovan Mitchell, right? There's already tons of talk and rumor and speculation. It's only going to ramp up as we move forward, as we progress through this offseason. And several teams will be linked to Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, Lakers landing Donovan Mitchell isn't a lock by any stretch of the imagination. There are some reports that are like, Donovan Mitchell wants to go to a big market. He wants to contend for NBA championships. Lakers or the Knicks seem to be the two destinations that are heavily linked to him. Obviously, the Knicks were trying to get him before. That was before Jalen Brunson's big emergence, right? Donovan Mitchell doesn't really make sense. He didn't make sense for them back then, a couple years ago when they were trying to get him because of Jalen Brunson. It makes even more or even less sense now. So I don't know if the Knicks even pursue him, especially if Minnesota ends up getting eliminated. There's a lot of talks about Karl Anthony Towns potentially being available this offseason. So we'll see. I think the Knicks will probably try to chase bigger fish and guys that maybe make more sense to their team, to pair alongside an OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, like those kind of guys. And I could see them maybe going and looking to go get Karl Anthony Towns or something like that. So that might take them out of the race. And then maybe the Lakers are the one team. But teams like the Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat, you're going to have several teams that are going to be in the race for Donovan Mitchell. He's an incredible talent. I know people are down right now about him not being in these playoffs, right, and missing the last few games. There's a couple things about that. One, the dude was putting up 50 a game, doing everything he could to kind of keep this team afloat, and ended up getting hurt. He's not going to have to do that in a better situation, right? Like if he's with the Lakers, he's not going to have to go and drop 50 just for us to be competitive in a game. And he's not going to be like the sole driving component. He'd have LeBron, he'd have Anthony Davis. So I'm not really worried so much there. I know people talk about the health factor and stuff in general, but it's just the NBA today, right? Like, what stars are playing 82 games anymore? Right? It's usually like the role guys, like an Austin Reeves just played 82 games. Right? More times than not, it's those guys. The standard nowadays is like 65 to 70 games. Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, they'll probably be load managed throughout the season. And then you get into the playoffs and they'll be good to go and they'll be fresh and they'll be ready. Also, another side of that is, look, I think if Donovan Mitchell saw Cleveland as their long-term, like this is where I'm going to be the next few years, I think it might be a different situation. Maybe he does play, right? Maybe he does kind of push himself out there, try to stay on the basketball court. But I think he's already had his mind made up. I think he knows he wants to leave. And last thing he wants to do is go out on that court, hurt himself. And now he's got to sign a new deal with Cleveland or whatever, or he's got to stick around in Cleveland when right now, if he just kind of gets through this playoffs, sucks. I'm not out there on the court, but I'm not going to risk my future for this, then I think that that's part of the play too. Where again, if he was on a 4-year deal with the Lakers, he might actually be out there on the basketball court. But again, I don't think the Lakers are a lock by any stretch of the imagination. I think it boils down to Donovan Mitchell, right? What does he want to do? If he's basically, he wants to go to the Knicks or the Lakers and the Knicks bow out and it's just the Lakers, then the Lakers will get him. I have all the confidence in the world the Lakers will get him. But if it's something where it's like, like, yeah, I want to go to the Lakers, but I wouldn't mind going to, the Brooklyn Nets and going and teaming up with like Mikal Bridges, right? I'm still in New York, right? I'd like to, I'm in Brooklyn, but I'm in the area, right? Like, I think that that's something that Donovan Mitchell, if he's down for that, or if he's like, hey, I would go to Miami, right? I stay in the weak East. I get to play with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Like, let's do that, right? If he's open to several teams, then it becomes this bidding war that might make it tough for the Lakers to get. Now, it just depends. Miami isn't like strapped with assets, so I think the Lakers could outbid Miami. Brooklyn does pose an interesting threat, but I do think the Lakers can kind of be in that mix, be in that conversation as far as like assets go, because the Lakers do have quite a bit. They got 3 firsts, they got a couple pick swaps, and they got like 5 seconds that they can kind of work through. So, I mean, you could essentially, if you had to, offer everything to go get Donovan Mitchell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, boom, there you go. Ideally, you want to go get, like if you're, in a perfect world, you go something like, Reeves, Rui, and then like the 3 firsts, maybe like a pick swap or something like that, right? For Donovan Mitchell, and then now you have your 5 seconds. If you could work something out with D'Lo, there's talks about D'Angelo Russell potentially signing like a 1-year kind of massive contract, right? So like, let's say Orlando, just use them as an example. Say Orlando's like, hey, we'll give you $19 million to stick around, right? Well, the Lakers would come in and go, okay, they'll give you 19, we'll give you $25 million for just the season, but we're going to look to trade you and we'll give you that boost. Or maybe they go like heavy, like let's say they want to go get Donovan Mitchell, and let's say the Cavs are like, we don't want Rui, we want Reeves, we don't really want Rui, right? So maybe they could work something out to where you go, okay, we'll give you D'Lo and Reeves, and we'll kind of work that out, and then maybe you get that done whenever D'Lo would be trade eligible, right? Like, there's options, there's flexibility there, especially if you're able to work out D'Lo. Or again, like I said, you do a Reeves and Rui deal, plus whatever picks, and then whatever you have left over, now you have D'Angelo Russell and his, let's call it $25, $30 million expiring contract, along with, let's say, the 5 seconds or whatever. Maybe you could go get a quality piece or two, right? Maybe we got Rui for 4 seconds, right? Like maybe you could do something where you're going and getting a nice little piece for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Also, now with the new CBA, second round picks are a lot more valuable, because you can now re-sign them and they don't impact the cap the same way. So it gives you a little more flexibility. So now teams will be more incentivized to kind of hoard second round picks, but also value for some of these teams where it's like, man, we can go get the second pick and it doesn't have the same type of impact that it had prior, right? So now second round picks just have more weight to them. So now for Rui, right, we traded, just using him as the example, we traded 4 seconds for Rui Hachimura. And today's, and with the new CBA, that might only cost 2 or maybe 3. So again, maybe you could go get a quality player. So you go trade for Donovan Mitchell. Let's say you sign a Valanciunas, and then you bring in like a Kevin Porter Jr. or something off the bench. You have Gabe Vincent still. Right now, you kind of have this mold, this roster that I think could be very comparable or competitive. There you go, very competitive. And then now you add in, D'Lo with those second round picks, and maybe go add some more depth, some more talent, and at that point, you're basically locked in regardless. So at that point, even if they're long-term salaries, whatever, if they make sense, then you're making that type of trade to bring those guys in, because you're locked in regardless. You're not going to have the flexibility with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Donovan Mitchell going forward. You're basically going to be, an apron team and all that stuff. So if you're the Lakers, this may be your one opportunity to kind of go, the big swing, which is why I think there's so many connections to the Lakers going and getting these guys, and the Lakers actually have the assets to get these type of guys. But I do think it's going to take a little nudging from Donovan Mitchell, right? I do think the Lakers end up landing somebody. I do, because they just have the assets, and there's going to be players that, want to go there. I still kind of lean towards it's probably going to be Trae Young. I know some people don't really want him. I don't really necessarily want him, but if he comes, I'll support him. I just think that it's probably the most likely, because I think Trae Young's market's going to be very slim. And there's already reports that came out today that were like Brandon Ingram's market's going to be even bigger than than Trae Young, because one, how many teams need a point guard? How many teams need a guy like Trae Young and him being so ball dominant, stuff like that, defensive liability, all those things. So to me, I think the Lakers could probably throw their hat in the ring and get that done. But ideally, I want Donovan Mitchell. I think you give up and you do whatever you have to go get Donovan Mitchell. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Donovan Mitchell, those three guys healthy in the playoffs, good luck. Right? And even if you're going with like a Max Christie and a Jared Vanderbilt at that point, again, good luck. You got everything you need in that regard. But we'll see. Time will tell. Again, this is something that it impacts the Lakers, right? The Cavs being eliminated makes it more and more likely that Donovan Mitchell is going to depart from Cleveland. And he's expected to be on the trade market, and Lakers are going to throw their hat in the ring. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, yes, go get Donovan Mitchell? Cavs been eliminated, right? He'll be available this offseason, get it done. Do you think, no, go do some other things like, maybe a DeJounte Murray and another piece, whatever. Again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.